Breaking free from overwhelm. Tools to regain control and clarity. I'm Cheryl Parker. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you today to talk about this topic about breaking free from overwhelm. I'll just go over the agenda quickly with you. First, I'll give you a little introduction about who I am. I'll tell you a little bit about my business, Adapt DNA, and talk about the Big Six method that I use in my programs. And then we're going to talk about some of the impacts of overwhelm and what it's costing us. And then I'm going to introduce a new time management tool that you may or may not have heard of before. And we're going to do an exercise with this time management tool so that you can practice and start using this tool right away in your life to start making a difference. And then at the end, I'll show you some additional support that's available with what you've learned today. So, as I said, I'm Cheryl Parker, and I'm a thought leader in adaptability skills and mental health strategies. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies, community and social service organizations, as well as sports organizations. And it's given me a wide expertise to be able to change the team culture and make difference in the workplace so that new opportunities can emerge. And adaptability has been the name of the game for me as I was navigating adversities in my life. And I just love sharing adaptability mindsets with people so that you can gain success at every turn in your life. So let me tell you a little bit about my background as I evolved from doing grief counseling and moving over to doing corporate workshops. So I started the grief counseling about 20 years ago, over 20 years now, after my 8-year-old daughter Rachel died from complications from a flu virus. I did a lot of public speaking at that time, more so about organ donation and advocating for that because she had donated her organs and saved lives. And that was just so inspiring to me to take a tragic story and be able to inspire people. So I was called to that work, and that work has been so meaningful to me for over 2 decades. But what I saw, I eventually evolved over into mental health strategies. And that's when I rebranded to Adapt DNA. I saw how tightly grief was associated with mental health. And I wanted to equip people with the skills of resilience and adaptability so that when they did come across some loss of whatever kind, because grief certainly is not just associated with death, then they would be equipped with those tools and be able to, take those challenges on head on. And that's what has had me adapt DNA. And that's where we are today. So, a little bit about the Big Six that I mentioned there. So, working with hundreds of incredible women over the years, I have seen how grief shows up in many different ways. So, like I said, grief is not just associated with death. But I was starting to see a pattern, and I was seeing these different areas that consistently were showing up in these women's lives. Now, I work with men and women, but the majority of my clients have been women. So I created an ebook called The Big Six. And my hope is that this will be a tool for people to navigate these transitional milestones in their lives as they work through their career. So those 6 areas are inequality, balance, union, birth, menopause, and of course, death. So we can't tackle all 6 of these areas today. So I chose balance because I think that, quite often that can, spill over into our lives in all these different areas. So I wanted to take on that area. But before we dive into that, I just want to share a couple of stories from women that I have worked with over the years. So I worked with a woman, she was 57 years old, and her husband had died a few months before. She was really struggling in her work life and her personal life. And so we started working together. And through the coaching, she was able to gain clarity and find the courage to make not only small decisions, but big decisions in her life. She ended up quitting her job, selling her house, moving across the province, and she went back to school to pursue her passion for art. And today she's thriving as a professional artist. She's in a new relationship and she's very fulfilled in her life. Another woman I worked with, her son had died and had been 6 years. And she was unable to look at pictures or talk about her son. And her marriage was strained, her relationship with her daughter was strained. And in short 5 weeks of working together, she came to her session with an armful of photo albums ready to share stories about her son. And by the time we finished working together, she had healed her marriage and strengthened her relationship with her daughter. Now, I can't guarantee any specific results when we work together, but these are the kind of miracles that I get to witness and that I have been witnessing for a couple of decades. So, let me just tell you a little bit about the Big Six, the method that we use. So, it's a 4-step process. Now, the first step is assessment and prioritization. Step 2 is goal setting and goal setting and action planning. Step 3 is implementation and tracking. And then step 4 is review and adjust. So, and we're going to track balance today. So we're going to start with step 1. So that's assessment and prioritization. So by applying the Big Six method, you'll reduce your overwhelm and you'll prioritize more effectively. And then you'll feel free and you'll feel like you're more in control of your time and your energy. So let's talk about the objectives. What are you going to get out of your time spent together today? So from today, you're going to gain clarity and confidence. So you're going to be able to know how to prioritize your time and your tasks. And you're going to be empowered to take control of your life. And finally, you're going to know how to create balance and align your daily actions with your bigger life goals. So let's get started. Grab a notebook and have a pen ready because we're going to do an exercise together. And I love the learning to be experiential so that it's something that you can use when you walk away from today. So let's begin. So I'm sure that we've all experienced overwhelm in some shape or form. Doesn't necessarily mean we're in overwhelm all day, every day, but I'm sure at some point during some day you have experienced the feeling of overwhelm. And so imagine, being free from that overwhelm. And we need to tackle our daily tasks and our weekly tasks and our monthly tasks because they can kind of take control and start running the show. So we want to switch that around so that we have control over our tasks. So imagine waking up each morning and having a clear mind and a sense of what you're going to tackle that day so that the power of prioritization can work for you instead of against you. So let's just talk about how overwhelm is impacting our lives. So, we talk about work-life balance, kind of throw that jargon around a lot. I hear it a lot. But here's the thing, if things are going well at work, but you're overwhelmed at home, or vice versa, it's going to spill into the other. So it's not like we can just have balance when we have one thing working. It all has to work together. And that's what we're going to work towards today. So eliminate the distractions, focus on what truly matters, and you'll find your energy levels increase and your stress levels drop. So I made a laundry list here of things that how overwhelm can impact our lives. So I'm going to read out the list and see if you can find yourself in any of these. So overcommitting, procrastination, being out of alignment, being in reactive mode, unclear boundaries, vague goals, overambitious planning, lack of flexibility, goal neglect, imbalance, inconsistent execution of tasks and goals, distractions, poor time management, a lack of accountability, stagnation, repeating mistakes, lack of growth, frustration, complacency, chronic stress, health issues, emotional exhaustion, impaired decision making, relationship strain, imposter syndrome, stalled career, reduced creativity and innovation, missed learning opportunities. These symptoms of overwhelm can feel consuming, but you don't have to live there. The Big Six method is designed to help you break free from those cycles. Now, it's going to guide you through a step-by-step process of assessing and prioritizing your tasks and setting realistic goals and implementing manageable actions. So by using the method, you can regain control and get that clarity back. Now, it doesn't have to be permanent. So by using the method, you can regain control over your time, reduce your stress, create lasting balance in your personal and your professional life. So it's not just about surviving overwhelm, it's about thriving in it. So, because if we don't, here's the cost. Your head's not in the game, trouble concentrating, making silly mistakes, forgetting important things, dropping the ball, feeling like you're disappointing everyone no matter how hard you're working in your work life and your personal life. Coworkers, being irritable with them, irritable with our family, rejecting social events, even isolating, task paralysis, mental health issues that start to arise, physical health takes its toll. These are all recipes for burnout. And, think of the difference it'll make when your head is back in the game and your focus is sharp and you're no longer feeling like you're dropping the ball on important things. This is how we break free from overwhelm. So when your overwhelm disappears, you'll regain control, and not just your tasks, but of your life. You'll start seeing growth, personal and professional, where before there was only stagnation. And those costs have consequences, and they will turn into long-term consequences. We've got the personal side of things, your increased stress levels, your health problems, decreased life satisfaction, and strained relationships. And then in your career, you can see reduced productivity, stagnation in your career, or even losing your job, poor reputation. And then emotional and physical, decreased mental clarity, increased anxiety, lower self-esteem, health issues. So these impacts are so invasive and they're going to bleed into all the different areas. So the good news is that we don't have to stay stuck in this cycle. The Big Six method provides a roadmap to help you gain control and create balance across all these areas of your life. So, I don't consider myself much of a stats person per se, but whenever I do read these stats, I'm just blown away at the numbers. So I'm just going to read through these quickly. 2021 survey from Deloitte found that 77% of respondents reported experiencing burnout at their current job, with women more likely to report burnout than men, 83% versus 72%. Well, either way, those numbers are both high. According to 2020 survey of Flex Jobs, the and Mental Health America, 75% of workers experience burnout, with 40% citing it as a direct result of the pandemic. And make no mistake, we are still experiencing fallout from that pandemic. The American Psychological Association reported that 2020 that nearly 3 in 5 employees experience negative impacts of work-related stress, including lack of interest, motivation, or energy, and lack of effort at work. More stats. A survey from Deloitte in 2021 indicated that 50% of women reported increased workloads compared to pre-pandemic levels, contributing to higher stress and burnout rates. And the same survey found that 53% of women rated their mental health as poor or very poor, with 61% citing increased responsibilities at home as a key stressor. I could go on all day about these stats, but let's move on and find some solutions for ourselves. So here's what we want. Instead of feeling buried under our to-do list, we want to picture ourselves confidently managing our tasks, knowing that we've made progress where it matters most. Now, achieving balance isn't about perfection. It's about making steady progress and toward your personal and professional goals with a confidence that you're in control of your future. And life doesn't always look like, laying around on a lounge chair with your dog, but my goodness, sometimes it should, shouldn't it? We don't want to feel like we're walking on a tightrope or that life is constantly a balancing act. But by applying the Big Six method, you'll reduce your overwhelm, prioritize more effectively, and finally feel like you're in control of your time and your energy. And by staying aligned with your values and learning to prioritize what truly matters, you'll create a foundation for ongoing success and fulfillment in every aspect of your life. So let's tackle that to-do list. So where do we start? Sometimes it can feel like we have a mountain of work that we're buried under, just like this picture. And I can certainly relate to that at times. But by setting clear boundaries and aligning your goals, you'll make decisions that become clearer. And then you'll start making progress without that constant pressure of feeling like you're behind or buried. So, and it's not just about the work to-do list either. Like those stats said, sometimes it's about the overwhelm that's happening at home. So, it can be, not getting to that garage to get it cleaned out and the endless list of things to do from a foundation or a board that you sit on that brings fulfillment and purpose into your life, but also an extra to-do list. And sometimes it's about, just not getting downstairs and getting it organized the way you'd like it to be. Or simply, a stack of laundry that's accumulating on your dining room table. Or any number of other things at home that are bringing overwhelm to you. So when life feels cluttered with the endless to-dos, the Big Six method helps you declutter not just your physical space, but your mental space too. By prioritizing what truly matters, you can free yourself of the overwhelm of low priority tasks and focus on the ones that are more important, that bring you peace and balance. And that applies to both your personal life and your work life. So I know for me that, once I get that clarity, then I can start moving through those tasks that, can feel so daunting at times. So I want to introduce you to the Eisenhower Matrix. It's a simple, effective decision-making tool for determining which tasks deserve our immediate attention or our long-term attention or delegation skills or our circular bins. So it's human nature when we feel like there's fires sparking up everywhere that we kind of get into react mode and we start putting fires out everywhere. But you can find yourself spinning and spinning and spinning all day, all week, even all month, and never feel like you're accomplishing anything. and we're exhausted and we have nothing to show for it. Well, that stops today. So let's have a look at how they map out the tasks. So, tasks that need immediate attention and have high importance, think emergencies, medical issues, or a work project due tomorrow. And then you've got your long-term tasks that are crucial but not time sensitive. So they're often the bigger goals. So like save for a house, plan a family vacation. And then there's the tasks that need quick action, but it's not the end of the world if they're not accomplished, like answering a colleague's non-urgent email. And then you've got tasks that would be nice to get to, but it's not a priority. And, for an example, rearranging the living room furniture. It's kind of on your mind, but it's not critical that it has to happen today or tomorrow. So let's take another look at this and how they categorize the quadrants, because different things will speak to different people. So quadrant 1 is the necessity. That's your emergencies, your crisis, last minute deadlines, unforeseen events. Quadrant 2 is your productivity, such as like proactive work, planning, creative thinking, relationship building, learning. Quadrant 3 is distractions, and that's your interruptions, your email, your device notifications, irrelevant meetings, office drop ins. Q4 is waste. So, this is your busy work. This is your excessive entertainment. That's your TV, your video games, social media, gossip, procrastinating. Okay, so let's do an exercise together so that we can use this tool. So we're going to do an exercise together, but I also want you to do a brain dump of your to-dos. So don't stress because I've done an example of a brain dump here, and that's what we'll use for the exercise. But I just want you to have the experience of doing a brain dump in a matter of a minute. So just to show you how quick that it can take to do this brain dump and just get it out of your mind and onto paper, like that in itself will, have you feel better. So you're going to write down everything that you have on your mind that is a to do. So that's things like that you want to do, things that you should do, things you think you need to do, things you'd like to do, even things you don't want to do. Challenge yourself. So just taking part in this exercise itself can bring instant clarity and a sense of control. This is a very powerful exercise. So here's my sample of a brain dump, just to let you, get thinking. And I'll set a timer and let you know when it's time for you guys to do your brain dump. So don't worry about that. So here's my example. Call your mom, clean your garage, declutter the filing cabinet, make an eye doctor appointment, get gas, buy a shower gift, plan a birthday party, get the car washed, take dress to the cleaners, get back to a client, look into your cell phone plan so you can get some discounts, um, and update your budget, plan a vacation, answer emails. So now I'm going to set the timer for you, and I'm going to set it to 1 minute. And I want you to take that minute and write down your to-do list. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute and just start doing your brain dump. Okay, so ready, set, go. Thirty seconds. 10 seconds more. Okay, time's up. Pens down. I hope you were able to capture some of the things that are juggling around in your brain that are to do. Um, it takes up a lot of space. I know for me it sure does. So, being able to do this brain dump is just so, so helpful. So then what we would do with your own to-do list, you would map it out on the matrix. Now, remember the top two squares are important and one is urgent and one is not. And the bottom two squares are not important, but one is urgent and one is not. So if you want a copy of this template after the presentation, just email me at the email address at the bottom of the screen, and I will send that template to you so that you can practice with it. So let's see how these tasks are rated and how they would show up on the quadrant. So keep in mind, this is your own tool to use. So if listing them all down like this and just marking them at what quadrant they would go in, if that is easier for you, then go for it. So I'm just showing you a couple of different ways of how you can map these out and use this as a great prioritization tool. So urgent and important. These are the things you're going to do first. So call your mom. So if it's timely or important, checking on her well-being, make an eye doctor appointment. It's health related. So, that's probably time sensitive. Get gas. Probably again, time sensitive, especially if you're running low and you have tasks errands to run, and get back to a client. Time sensitive and it impacts your work. So quadrant 2 is important, but not urgent. So these are things that you can schedule. So plan a birthday party. It's important for your personal life, but it can be scheduled. Look into your cell phone plan to get a discount. It could save you money, but it's not urgent. Update your budget. Again, important for your financial health, but it can be scheduled. And plan a vacation. Important for your well-being, but again, not necessarily urgent and pressing. So quadrant 3, urgent, but not important. Sometimes we can delegate these tasks. So buy a shower gift. It's time sensitive, but not crucial. Get your car washed. It can be done quickly or it can be done by somebody else, and you can delegate that. Take your dress to a dry cleaners. It can be handled by someone or it can be scheduled. And answer emails. That can be urgent, but it can also often be routine. So number 4 is not urgent and not important. So these are things that you can either eliminate or you can defer. So that's the clean your garage. It's important, but not urgent, and it can be deferred or done gradually. And then the final one, declutter your filing cabinet. Again, it can be done when you have time or, it can be done gradually. So this is how it all shakes out. So let's see what it would look like on a matrix. So this is how it would look on the Eisenhower matrix. So as you work through this exercise with your own to-do list, think about moments when you felt most overwhelmed. And now imagine tackling those moments with a clear plan and a calm mindset, knowing that you're focusing on the right tasks. Excuse me, sorry. So this exercise is not just about managing your task, it's about reclaiming your time and your energy and your mental clarity so that you can focus on what truly matters. Okay, so let's look at the template and see how you can map out your own to-do list. So from a quick brain dump we did, I would suggest taking 5 or 10 minutes or even half an hour and do a full brain dump so that you have a really clear, true to life example of a brain dump and a to-do list. So when I sit down to do my brain dump, I had about, well, the last one I did, I had about 45 tasks. And, it can feel immediately like, oh, I have too much to do and not enough time. But once I prioritize it into the four quadrants and I can get clear on what I need to focus on, it's not 45 things. It's maybe a handful of things. And on this matrix, they suggest not putting any more than 8 into each quadrant. Like, make it realistic for yourself, make it manageable so that you can fit this into your life, because you don't want 6 pages of this and feel defeated before you even get started. So, the ones that you can tackle right away will be clear. And the ones that can wait or be deferred can, just wait. This really works. I felt like as soon as I had prioritized my quadrants, I feel like not only is it clear on the paper, but it's clear in my mind. I could like literally feel my brain get rearranged, like the neurons just kind of rearranged, and immediately my nervous system relaxes. And that's what we want to achieve, because when we are in fight or flight and anxious and, over, stressed and overwhelmed, that's when our nervous systems are on high alert. And we cannot function in that way day in, day out. It's just not sustainable for our health. So, this is also a retrospective task, too. So, you can notice on the bottom there, it just says, I just want to bring your attention to this. So, after you've mapped out your tasks, and you start working away at your tasks, you're going to see what quadrant you kind of hang out in the most. And then you can assess by yourself, like, am I constantly in that quadrant 3 where it's like emergency, it's time sensitive, and yet it's not important? I'm hanging out in these unimportant, urgent quadrants. And then you can start taking next steps on how to grow in that area and how to shift your focus. So it's going to be very telling once you start working with this matrix. you know you have to be adaptable with this process too, but remember, life calls us to be adaptable, but adaptability does not mean bending over backwards and being able to handle everything that's thrown your way. And adaptability is also not taking on everything until we collapse. That is not what adaptability is. So now that you've had a chance to experience the power of prioritization, imagine having consistent support to help you apply this in every aspect of your life. So, this is the additional support that is available to you. You can have customized guidance, which will lay a foundation of getting personalized support to adapt the Eisenhower matrix and other strategies into your specific challenges and your goals, ensuring that you can achieve that work-life balance that you desire. You can have monthly momentum by having regular coaching and check-ins to help you stay on track, make adjustments, and maintain the progress towards reassuring that you are mastering and prioritizing with confidence. And that's 3 calls a month. So the first one is a setup call to get you set up and get your foundation laid and, set the groundwork. And then the second call is a Q&A call. And that's where you can discuss your progress, get coaching, get answers to any questions that you have, and connect with others that are on the same path. And then the third one is a momentum meetup call. And that's where you can share your progress. You can get feedback and encouragement from the others that are working through the same process. And, you might be thinking, I'm already so busy, I can't fit in another 3 calls. But here's the thing. By carving out this time for 3 calls, it will actually add time to your calendar and add time to your life. These calls are going to be productive And we're going to move forward with your tasks and your goals. So it'll provide you with that mental clarity and confidence that you need to step out of that overwhelm. So, you if you don't change what you're doing, then nothing changes, right? So keep that in mind. Um, depending on what tasks you're taking on, we might get some of that accomplished during the call. So it's going to be about addressing the overwhelm, not just talking about it. So the thing is, like I said, if we don't change what we're doing, then nothing changes, and we all know what the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So you'll also get tailored tools. You'll have access to templates and resources that will simplify the process for you and make it easier to sustain and, have those practices become something that is just part of your life. And then you'll have a supportive community. You'll be with like-minded people that are also striving for balance and resiliency and adaptability. And, everybody's going to offer support and encouragement to each other. So, tailored guidance that meets your unique needs, challenges, and balanced work life. A customized roadmap to help you achieve harmony between your professional and your personal life. Think of me as your very own personal project manager, giving you the confidence and clarity to prioritize what truly matters. Not just about balance, but a shift in your mindset to embrace adaptability and resilience, and transforming the way that you approach the challenges in your daily life. So you are now moving forward with confidence, and you could be in any one of these three places. One, you've gained new insights. You now have a new powerful tool that you can tackle overwhelm and prioritize your tasks more effectively. And if you feel confident moving forward on your own, fantastic. Remember to use the Eisenhower matrix whenever you want to need control or clarity. So you may have questions and, need more guidance. If you feel a bit more guidance would help you implement these strategies, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to offer support. We can schedule a no obligation call and explore how we can continue building momentum. So you just have to book a call on that link that I've put on the slide there. And the third place you might be in is you're ready to dive deeper. So, you're excited to take this further and you know that support would benefit you. Let's explore how the Big Six Starter Program can help you create lasting change. I'd love to work with you. So just, contact me at that link. Let's book a call, discuss next steps. It just takes $67 to get started. And if you would like to get a copy of the Big Six ebook, just download a free copy from the website. And the address is at the bottom of the screen. And when you apply what you've learned today, you're not just making changes on your schedule. You are laying the groundwork for long-term success and fulfillment. These strategies are not just about handling today's tasks. They're about building a life that feels aligned with your values and balanced and under control of every single aspect of your life and of your day. So we're wrapping up, and I just want to thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope that you've gained value and that you will implement the Eisenhower matrix into your life so that you can prioritize tasks, break free from overwhelm, and regain control and clarity. Thank you.